fundamentally, Apple Pay keeps the customer information private to the customer, doesn't share it with the retailer. This merchant customer exchange that Target, Best Buy, CVS, Rite Aid, Walmart, and so many other giant retailers have signed up for, they have yet to launch, lets them collect the customer data. These are opposite ends of the spectrum. They have opposite goals.
It's all about making money, so here we go. Time for the Money Master, the director of financial newsletters at Newsmax.com. Jeff Yastine joins us. Jeff, before we get to all that on Apple Pay and so much more, I don't know if you're seeing the same numbers I am, but I'm seeing that so close to 17,000 mark for the Dow today.
It's amazing what just a few weeks and some low energy prices can make a difference to buying and selling on Wall Street. But you're exactly right. We have the Dow up about 108 points or so right now. The S&P 500 up about 15 points, and the NASDAQ up about 62 points. So another great-looking day if you're into stocks.
Is that really it, though? Is it the energy prices you believe that's really causing a lot of this right now?
It's partly it, but I think the other thing is, and we're going to get into that discussion here in a moment, but is a lot of the economic data that's coming out isn't that great, but it's not particularly bad either. And I think the way Wall Street is reading it right now is that's fine. It gives the Federal Reserve a chance to recede somewhat to the sidelines, but still keep interest rates low and not move too quickly on raising interest rates sometime next year, which as we have talked many times before, that was certainly the big fear only a month and a half ago.
Well, let's go ahead and talk about that right now, because the home prices are growing, but a slower rate nationally. Each of the 20 cities indexed had a year-over-year gain, but it's not really moving as much as they want. It seems like a 0.8% increase in some areas. That's not a lot.
When I've been reading some of the reports that have looked into this, these housing reports that are coming out, a lot of it is really indicating that the big speculators that had been in the housing market driving prices by large amounts have largely withdrawn. It's sort of this understated story that hedge funds have been big players in major markets like here in Florida for a long time. Many of those have withdrawn to the sidelines, but there are, because of low interest rates, there are still a lot of regular folks out there starting to move into buying starter homes. That's why we're seeing existing home sales doing okay. We're seeing new home sales doing okay. And that's part of the reason why is that the little guy, so to speak, the ordinary person, is coming back in and starting to put their toe into the housing market.
All right, here comes a little bit of an upbeat sentiment, I guess, as far as U.S. business spending. Well, there's a sentiment. Everybody's happy. Things seem to be looking good, but the business spending has weakened a little bit. So how does that all work out? How does that all measure up?
Again, this is one of those weird Wall Street things that when business spending, when a key metric piece of data like this looks a little weak, the Wall Street's looking at it saying, hey, that means the Federal Reserve is going to stay on the sidelines for a while. They're not going to raise interest rates anytime soon. The Fed's got our back, which, as we know, is part of the addiction that the markets, the equity markets, have to the Federal Reserve. But in this case, bad news is good news. That's really the best way to put it if you own stocks.
Temporary decline, right? Temporary for the business spending.
I certainly would presume if it isn't temporary, then certainly the gains that we're seeing are going to be reversed at some point down the road.
All right, what we started the segment about here, CVS and Rite Aid are snubbing Apple Pay. Jack Ma and Alibaba willing to talk. I just get the sense that it's all going to work out somewhere down the line. But then again, you do have those people who want to make sure that they're not paying the credit card companies. We want the money in our pocket.
Right, there's a lot of investment going on into this. Google tried it with Google Wallet and really ran into the same kind of roadblocks from merchants that Apple is seeing now. Like you said, somebody's going to figure out the formula here. I don't know whether Walgreens and Walmart and CVS really have it either with this merchant pay system they're talking about, but somebody's going to get it figured out. The other thing that's interesting is, like you said, about Apple Pay with Alibaba, but you know, with Apple, they're not really a big player in China yet. iPhones aren't even in the top 5 sales categories of smartphone brands in China. So, you know, how much of an impact it's really going to have in the near term really remains to be seen.
Key word you said in there, yet, which we'll talk about down the road, I'm sure. Jeff Yastine, always a pleasure, my friend. Thanks for joining us. And a reminder to everybody, go to Newsmax.com. Also click on Money. Go to the Money News right there. You can read what Jeff and the whole crew have to say. Be sure to see Jeff's latest report on a covert plan to unleash financial havoc by visiting FIRcollapse.com. Breaking back here on MidPoint. Head for the numbers, latest polls on the key midterm races right here on MidPoint.